Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jayam Vishnupada Paramhamsa Parivajikacharya Shrotra Shrotra Shri Srimad Divine Grace Ace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories of the assembled devotees, all glories of the assembled devotees, all glories of the assembled devotees, all glories of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Fourth Canto, Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 23, Maharaj Prithu's going back home. And we're on text 6. Grishme Panchatapavir, Grishme Panchatapaviro, Shasva Sarasan Munihi. Akanta Magna Shishvire Udake Standile Shayaha Grishme Panchatapaviro Prashashva Sarasan Munihi Akanta Magna Shishire Udake Standile Shayaha Grishme Panchatapaviro Shashvasarasan munihi Akanta magna shishire Udake standile shayaha Grishme in the summer season. Panchatapaha, 5 kinds of heating. Viraha, the hero. Varshasu, in the rainy season. Asarasat, being situated within the torrents of rain. Munihi, like the great sages. Akanta, up to the neck. Agnaha, drowned. Shishire, in the winter. Udake, within water. Standile shayaha, lying down on the floor. So you should take prasadam akanta. Yeah. Akanta bhosha. Until you're, Mukunda Charna, that's good. Until you're standile sheha, lying down on the floor. You should take prasad up to akanta, up to the neck, until you're standile sheha, lying down on the floor. Yeah, there's recently I heard there's 2 devotees and they're at somebody's house in South Africa, and these devotees were feeding, the host was feeding them quite a lot. And then at one particular point, like every preparation they thought was going to be the last. But these devotees kept on bringing new preparations, because they cooked a bunch of different preparations. So then at one particular point, one of the devotees said to the other devotee, said, well, what are we supposed to do? I mean, they keep on bringing things out. What are we supposed to do? And this devotee said, well, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, one should not eat too much. How does it go first? Eat too little or eat too much? Yeah. One should not eat too much, nor should they eat too little. Right? So he said, today we are focusing on the instruction of not eating too little. Anyways. Injivna Swami. And my spiritual master. Injivna Swami was one who said, today we're focused on not eating too little. All right. Translation. Following the principles of forest living and the footsteps of the great sages and munis, Prithu Maharaj accepted 5 kinds of heating processes during the summer season. Generally, you don't accept heating processes during the summer season, right? You accept cooling processes. But exposed himself to torrents of rain in the rainy season, and in the winter stood in water up to his neck. He also used to simply lie down on the floor to sleep. Purport. These are some of the austerities executed by the jnanis and yogis who cannot accept the process of bhakti yoga. They must undergo such severe types of austerity in order to become purified from material contamination. Panchatapaha refers to 5 kinds of heating processes. One is enjoined to sit within a circle of fire with flames blazing from 4 sides and the sun blazing directly overhead. This is one kind of panchatapaha recommended for austerity. Similarly, in the rainy season, one is enjoined to expose himself to torrents of rain, and in winter to sit in cold water up to the neck. As far as bedding is concerned, the ascetic should be content with simply lying on the floor. The purpose for undergoing such severe austerities is to become a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, as explained in the next verse. So I'll read the next verse. Titikshurita vagdanta udvareta jitanyalaha harirada ishu krishnam ucharatapa uttamam. Maharaj Prithu underwent all these severe austerities in order to control his words and his senses, to refrain from discharging his semen, and to control the life air within his body. All this he did for the satisfaction of Krishna. He had no other purpose. Purport. In Kali Yuga, the following is recommended: Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, kalau nasteva, nasteva, nasteva getir anyata. Brihan Naradiya Purana. In order to be recognized by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one should chant the holy name of the Lord continuously 24 hours a day. Unfortunate persons who cannot accept this formula prefer to execute some type of pseudo-meditation without accepting the other processes of austerity. The fact is, however, that one must accept either the severe method of austerity described above to become purified, or take to the process of devotional service recommended for pleasing the Supreme Lord Krishna. The person who is Krishna conscious is most intelligent, because in Kali Yuga it is not at all possible to undergo such severe austerities. We need only follow great personalities like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In his Shikshashtaka, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. All glories to the holy names of Lord Krishna, which from the very beginning purify the heart and immediately liberate one. Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. If the real purpose of all yoga is to please Lord Krishna, then this simple bhakti yoga system recommended for this age is sufficient. It is necessary, however, to engage constantly in the service of the Lord. Although Prithu Maharaj executed his austerities long before the appearance of Lord Krishna on this planet, his purpose was still to please Krishna. There are many fools who claim that worship of Krishna began only about 5,000 years ago, after the appearance of Lord Krishna in India. But this is not a fact. Prithu Maharaj worshipped Krishna millions of years ago. For Prithu happened to be a descendant of the family of Maharaj Dhruva, who reigned for 36,000 years during the Satyuga age. Unless his total lifespan was 100,000 years, how could Dhruva Maharaj reign over the world for 36,000 years? The point is that Krishna worship existed at the beginning of creation, and has continued to exist throughout Satyuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapara Yuga. Now it is continuing in Kali Yuga, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna appears not only in this millennium of Brahma's life, but in every millennium. Therefore, worship of Krishna is conducted in all millenniums. It is not that Krishna worship began only when Krishna appeared on this planet 5,000 years ago. This is a foolish conclusion that is not substantiated by Vedic literatures. Also of significance in this verse are the words Arirad Diyushu Krishnam Archarat Tapa Uttamam. Maharaj Prithu underwent severe types of austerities for the express purpose of worshipping Krishna. Krishna is so kind, especially in this age, that he appears in the transcendental vibration of his holy name. As it is said in the Narada Pancharatra, Aradito Yadi Harist Basatata Kim. If Krishna is worshipped, if he is the goal of advancement, there is no need for one to execute severe types of tapasya, because one has already reached his destination. If after executing all types of tapasya one cannot reach Krishna, all his tapasya has no value. For without Krishna, all austerity is simply wasted labor. Shama evihi kevalam. Srimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 8. We should therefore not be discouraged just because we cannot go to the forest and practice severe austerities. Our life is so short that we must strictly adhere to the principles laid down by the Vaishnava Acharyas and peacefully execute Krishna consciousness. There is no need to become despondent. Narottam Das Thakur recommends Anande Balahari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majaya Mana. For a transcendental, blissful life, chant the Hare Krishna mantra, come worship the holy place of Vrindavan, and always engage in the service of the Lord, of the spiritual master, and of the Vaishnavas. This Krishna consciousness movement is therefore very safe and easy. We have only to execute the order of the Lord and fully surrender unto Him. We have only to execute the order of the spiritual master, preach Krishna consciousness, and fall in the path of the Vaishnavas. The spiritual master represents both Lord Krishna and the Vaishnavas. Therefore, by following the instructions of the spiritual master and by chanting Hare Krishna, everything will be all right. Om Jnanatipadandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Meditam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Kam Karidavachalam Pangam Langaite Girim Yakhipatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinitarinam Bhancha Kapuribhishta Kibasindu Vevicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. When we say the Panchatattva mantra that we say every day, we say Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, so all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, which is quite. If we really think about them, we take time and really think about the associates of Lord Chaitanya. They're absolutely amazing. Like you have, which we won't get into, describing all the associates of Lord Chaitanya. That will take a while, but I know some of you. I know all of you here are familiar, or we're all familiar with them. Even if just saying their name, you could think of some of their activities. But like, you have Kolavecha Sridhar, such a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. You have Vasudeva Dutt. Right, he wanted to take all the karma for all the living entities in the universe. You have, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. You have so many just really amazing personalities within, and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, all these really great personalities. Or you have Raghunandana Thakur, that boy who his father told him to offer the bhoga to Krishna, and then Krishna accepted it, and then the father came back and said, "Where's the prasadam?" And the boy said, "Oh, Krishna ate it, so you told me to offer it, so Krishna ate it." And then the father was upset, so he said, "Okay, well offer it again." So he offered it again, and then Krishna left half of the laddu or whatever it was. And Lord Chaitanya, he once said about Raghunanda Thakur, he said, "Oh, he is my life and soul." He would say that about a lot of his devotees. But anyways, there's so many great personalities. So when we say Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, all glories to the associates of Lord Chaitanya, we should try to remember some of their glories. So here within this verse 6 and 7, and specifically 6, the first one we read, it was describing all these amazing austerities that Prithu Maharaj underwent. And these austerities are, yeah, you could say they're very severe. Sometimes people think waking up at 4 a.m. is a severe austerity. There's two parts of waking up. One part is to wake up, and the other part is to stay up. Because sometimes people wake up and then they go back to sleep. Just like children, we were all once children. Maybe we remember, or maybe if some of us have children. I think in this room only one of us has children. That's Ramapati. But when you get kids up to go to school in the morning, so, wake up. And they say, okay, I'll wake up. Just give me 5 more minutes, whatever they say, right? And then they'll go past 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20. They want to keep on sleeping. So if we can manage to get up, that's the first stage. But then staying up is the important thing too. As we see in the ashram, sometimes people they want to go back to bed, that's why traditionally the brahmacharis would have a type of mat in which they would roll up and put away. And the reason being is because there's no temptation. Like if the bed's all out, everything's ready to go, then people think, oh, okay, well, maybe I could go back there and lay down, and it's a temptation. They're thinking about it. Okay, so we roll it up and put it away. So you could say maybe for Kali Yuga it's some type of severe austerity, waking up 4 a.m. in the morning. But in comparison with this, it's like nothing. He's in the freezing cold winter, getting, as Dravida Prabhu says regularly, cracking the ice, dipping into the water, and standing there up to the neck, right? That is freeze. That's cold. Oops. And so that's one thing. I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever done that, tried to bathe in a river or an ocean during the winter. Has anybody ever tried that here? You have? What is it? Oh. Yes. It was cold, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so Damodar Kumar Prabhu is saying that when they went on a hike of 3 sisters, right? 3 sisters? It was winter time, SanDiego. I mean, windy, this and that, but it's up in the mountains, right? 3 sisters, pretty much, to some degree. At least more in the mountains than it is here. And they went into the water. It was freezing. Yeah. The Sankirtan devotees from up saying they with ice, they take a bath, snow or something. And it was. So, yeah, I remember one time, I think I said this some time ago, my father, for whatever reason, he hopped into a pool during the winter season in Oregon. Oregon's cold. And he did that for God knows why, maybe he was intoxicated, drunk. But anyways, but he hopped in there, and then I was a young lad then. I was 8 years old or something. So my father did it, so yeah, I'm going to do it too. So I hopped in there, and it was freezing. There's like you could see your face gets white and your eyes get big. Really, it's cold. But they just don't hop in there to take a bath. We were also at a rainbow gathering in Colorado. We hopped in. That's where we'd bathe in the river there in the early morning, mountains of Colorado, very cold. But they wouldn't just bathe there temporarily. They would stand there in that water up to the neck. That's a severe austerity. Or our austerity, the warm shower in the morning, and then you turn it to the cold, right? For whatever, 30 seconds or a minute or something like that. So, but imagine just standing in the freezing cold water up to the neck. That's very severe. And same with the heat. During the summer, you build a fire around you, and then experience the heat of the blazing sun, and then the fire around you. I mean, that's really intense, right? When the summer comes, people turn on the air conditioners. I mean, we turn on the air conditioners, right? Air conditioners, car, air conditioner, right? We put on our hats and our sunglasses and everything, take off our shirts and, I don't know, put on tank tops or whatever we're doing, where it's hot. So some try to cool down, but this specifically, they're going there and they're sitting there meditating around a ring of fire when the sun's blazing down. So really severe, unimaginable, right? So luckily, as Prabhupada says, we can't do that in this age, and we don't have to. He says we don't have to do that, and he didn't do that. I don't see pictures of Prabhupada doing that, right? Prabhupada didn't do that. We don't have to do that. So austerity is different. And the austerity is, we do have our austerities, right? We follow the 4 regulative principles. Those could be seen as austerities. And you could say that our austerity is to chant Hare Krishna. But, generally when we talk about austerity, it means undergoing the typical idea behind austerity has been undergoing some difficulty for spiritual advancement, some suffering for spiritual advancement, just like waking up early. For people who aren't used to it, it's an austerity. It's suffering, but you're doing it for spiritual advancement. Or not taking intoxication. For some people, it's an austerity. It's suffering, but you're doing it for, I know it's good for me, for spiritual advancement. So to say, like Prabhupada would say, there's the negatives which are following these principles, and then there's the positive, which is chanting Hare Krishna. So when we say that, as Prabhupada's mentioned here, that the austerity for this day is to chant Hare Krishna, but is it really austerity? Should it be an austerity? Oh, I gotta chant my rounds. This is like really. In other words, should we see it as undergoing something difficult, or which causes suffering for spiritual advancement? And in the beginning, you could say, or maybe it depends on how long somebody wants to operate on that platform. It can be seen as suffering, chanting Hare Krishna every day, one's rounds. But of course, we would say that that's not a good condition to be in if we consider it suffering. In other words, by chanting, our chanting of Hare Krishna should become more easy and easy and easy and easy until it's actually an enjoyable activity. As Rupa Goswami says, right? What does he say, Javita Prabhu? About the millions of ears and you want to say it? It's an important shloka. Lord Chaitanya really he really liked this shloka by Rupa Goswami. He went into ecstasy, Lord Chaitanya, when he...
Yes, so did Haridas Thakur.
Haridas Thakur too. So we could go into ecstasy too, right now.
So you want it? Shall I go for it? Tunde Tandavani Rating Batanote Tundavali Labde Karna Krodha Kadambani Gadayate Karnarbude Bhakspiham Chetak Prangana Sangini Vijayate Saravindriyana Kutim No Jane Janitaki Yadbidamitai Krishneti Varna Dwahi. I don't know how much nectar these 2 syllables Krishna have produced. When I chant them, they seem to dance within my mouth, and I want to have millions of tongues to relish the taste of the holy name. And when they enter the ears, they seem to sprout, and I want to have millions of ears to hear those 2 syllables. And when they enter into the courtyard of the heart, all the senses become inert, and the mind becomes absorbed in Krishna.
Yeah, wonderful. Hare Krishna. So, Prithu Maharaj has a similar shloka like that earlier. He says something like thousands of tongues, he says, to glorify the devotees, something like that. So it's not that he's trying to. It's not that Rupa Goswami is chanting and he's just trying to fix his mind and wrestle with his mind and somehow to grab those mantras and make sure they enter the ears. In other words, he's not struggling to hear. He's hearing perfectly Hare Krishna and chanting perfectly, and he's wishing that he had more ears and more tongues, because one's not enough or two's not enough. So that's obviously an advanced platform, but we're meant to gradually, make our way there. In other words, we should like Hare Krishna. We should like to chant Hare Krishna, and we should actually love to chant Hare Krishna. One devotee, Borijan Prabhu, he said that there's a term. It says like when someone's like a wry, they kind of have a wry personality. Yeah, wry humor. So he said, the definition. What's the definition of wry? Okay, the definition of wry is coming. Not like Ramananda Roy. W-R-Y.
Oh, here we go. Humorous in a clever and often ironic way, showing both amusement and a feeling of being tired, annoyed, etc.
Yeah, so he has a wry personality. Very advanced devotee and wonderful devotee. So anyways, he said that he's waiting for the day, or waiting for the time when the Hare Krishna mantra becomes popular in the Hare Krishna movement again. Yeah. So, of course, you can't make a blanket statement of the whole Hare Krishna movement, but yeah, we're known as Hare Krishna people. That's what people know us as. Oh, those are Hare Krishna people, and we're known as the Hare Krishna movement. So one of our, you could say, main activities, or you could say, our main activity or our favorite activity should be to chant Hare Krishna. Like somebody asked me, one student they wanted to interview recently, and there was a lot of the times you get the same questions over and over and over again. Like I've answered the question, how did you join the Hare Krishna movement? I probably answered it thousands of times. Every week I have to answer that, Which isn't a bad question necessarily, but you get the question a lot. So, but the question that was brought up was that, what is the best part of you being part of the Hare Krishna movement? What's the best thing of being part of the Hare Krishna movement? And I was thinking, okay, I could say this, I could say that, but what came to my mind was that, the best part is to chant Hare Krishna. And I thought it's a important or a valid answer in the sense that that's what the whole movement rests on, chanting Hare Krishna. And of course, I could have answered in many ways. You could say, the best part of being part of the Hare Krishna movement is Krishna, right? What's the Hare Krishna movement without Krishna? Or you could say, what's the Hare Krishna movement without the devotees? But if we really analyze it, what do the devotees want us to do? They want us to chant Hare Krishna. And what does Krishna want us? He wants us to chant Hare Krishna. So this is what Prabhupada's saying. He's saying the best policy is to do that 24 hours a day. And that's the method for this age. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. So if we want success in this age, then that's the process. Hare Nama, chant Hare Krishna. And if we don't have taste for chanting Hare Krishna, and we want to be successful in Krishna consciousness, we better get it. Because that's the process. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan. You want to be successful, you want to conquer your bad qualities, you want to be happy, you want to be peaceful, you want to spread Krishna consciousness, you want to be a good devotee, you want to be pleasing to your spiritual master. You want all these different things. Okay, if you don't want them, fine. Go to Walmart. You'll get something else. Like we were hearing last night, right? Walmart. You get some cheap thing at Walmart. Or if you don't want it, fine, go somewhere else. But if you want these things, which that's what the Bhagavatam is promising, then param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtam. You get it from chanting. That's the process. And chanting entails that we are cleansing our heart, which means that we're cleansing the desires for material enjoyment. Which the desires of material enjoyment are many and of great variety. The desires people have for material enjoyment. And Srila Prabhupada, in some cases, he said, you should make those material desires zero. And he would say that in order to get to the spiritual world, you have to make those desires zero, which means transforming those material desires or casting those material desires away and developing spiritual desires, desires to serve Krishna, desires to serve the Vaishnavas, spiritual desires. And in one particular case, when Prabhupada said this, because the other day I mentioned something about, some quote about Prabhupada about devotees going back to Godhead and 75% and all that. So you could say to balance some of that statement out more, the devotees were thinking, oh, how are we going to do that? There was Brahmachari's household, whoever, people have material desires, so they're thinking, how are we going to do that? How are we going to be completely zero material desires? And then Prabhupada said, okay, he marked it down, right? Went from 100% zero, 100% no desires, and he went, okay, if you're 90% free, and devotees were still depressed, okay, 70, okay, and he kept on going down. And then at one point, Prabhupada said, okay, well, don't worry, I have the key to the back door, get into the spiritual world. So that is there, that, okay, it may seem difficult, we may be against odds going back to the spiritual world, but the mercy of Prabhupada's there. Now, of course, we want to be careful that a lazy mentality doesn't develop, just like with postmodern, for the most part, largely postmodern Christianity. A lazy mentality has developed, and that all I have to do is believe in Jesus Christ, and I don't really have to do much. It's just a belief system. And if I go to church once a week, and if I don't, if I follow some basic moral principles, I'm like a Paramahamsa. Right? In other words, using Jesus Christ as using him, pretty much, that as an excuse to commit sinful activity. So we want to make sure a lazy mentality doesn't develop, which means that we just don't want to completely depend on the mercy of God, but there's a saying, you want to act like everything depends on you. But of course Krishna's mercy is there as well. So it's both, Krishna's mercy and our endeavor. And also another point when Srila Prabhupada, in relation to this, is when Srila Prabhupada was once with a disciple started to criticize Prabhupada's godbrothers, which Prabhupada did. It's in writing, and Prabhupada spoke out about it against his godbrothers for teaching purposes and for explaining to his disciples that the downfalls of his godbrothers. So this disciple started to criticize Prabhupada's godbrothers when they're on this morning walk. And then Prabhupada stopped he stopped and he put his cane down and he said, he said, I could criticize my godbrothers, but you can't. It's not proper that you do that. And he said, my spiritual master is so merciful. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is so merciful. He said, just like Krishna. He said, Krishna, he took Putana back to Godhead, even though she was trying to kill him. She was a witch, she killed many babies and all that horrible things. So Krishna brought her back to Godhead. So he said, similarly, my spiritual master will bring all my God brothers back to Godhead. So yeah, that's there with our spiritual master, with Srila Prabhupada. And so as Prabhupada says in this purport, we don't have to become despondent, whether we're talking about success in this life or success in our next life. But that balance has to be there, that we don't want to just say, okay, well, it's all in Krishna's hands, so whatever he wants, and if Krishna wants me to be advanced, then I'll advance. Like Prabhupada said one time about Arjuna, right? They're fighting on a battlefield. Krishna is the charioteer of Arjuna. He's serving Arjuna in that way. And Prabhupada said that Krishna didn't tell Arjuna, okay, Arjuna, you sit on this chariot, you smoke ganja, and I'll fight the war. Just relax. I'll fight the war. But he said, fight. He said, stand and fight, and I'll help you. So that's there. So I'll fight. So that's that, and we have to remember that. Why was the Bhagavad Gita spoken? It was spoken for us. So that's what Krishna's telling us, that stand and fight, I'll help you. Not that, okay, well, I'm God and you really don't have to fight, I'll fight for you. But he said, no, you fight, I'll help you. So that's an important point. So in conclusion, we do not have to do these severe austerities. And we do other austerities, which are less severe. Thank God, right? And Prabhupada in the very end of the purport, he says that we just have to execute the order of Krishna and the spiritual master and the devotees. We just have to follow in their footsteps. Very simple. And if we want a blissful life, then what's the recommendation? Anande balahari bhaja vrindavan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majya Mana. It says, for a transcendental blissful life, chant Hare Krishna, worship the place of Vrindavan, holy place of Vrindavan, and always engage in the service of Krishna, the spiritual master, and the Vaishnavas. It says Bala here. Isn't it usually Bolo? Yeah. It says Bala here. Yeah, because it says Ananda Bala Hari Bhaja Vrindavan, but it's usually Bolo, isn't it? So, what's going on with that? Anyways. Okay, so does anybody have any questions or comments? Yes. Oh, I thought you were...
In the purport, Prabhupada mentions about worshipping Krishna. Is it Krishna meaning two-hand form Krishna or Vishnu? I was just curious.
Well, as we know, Krishna comes again and again. So, as it's being mentioned in the purport, that Prithu Maharaj was, or Prabhupada's saying it's foolish to, the fools claim that worship of Krishna began only about 5,000 years ago after the appearance of Lord Krishna in India, but this is not a fact. Prithu Maharaj worshipped Krishna millions of years ago. For Prithu Maharaj happened to be a descendant of the family of Maharaj Dhruva. So, I mean, there are cases where Prabhupada would say Vishnu and Krishna, he would interchange them. That's there. Well, we translate everything as Krishna. I'm just joking. No, it says Krishna. Yeah, Lord Krishna. I mean, I asked one time, I remember years ago, Toto Gopinath, I asked him, how long has deity worship been around? He said, oh, it's been around for practically forever. Yeah, the old brahmachari here. Young brahmachari, but from 10 years ago.
You knew about deity?
Well, I was new, bhakta, and I was just asking him how long is deity worship. He said, oh, it's been around a very, very long time. So like worship of Jagannath, I mean, how long does that go back? Yeah, like really long time. Yeah, Dhruva was doing deity worship. So, I mean, how far does Prithu Maharaj go back? I mean, Prabhupada says, he says millions, right? Millions of years ago. So was there, were they worshipping a form of Krishna millions of years ago? Well, yeah, it's saying here, they were. So, does anybody have any other comments about that? Or questions about it?
But the thing that always all right. Prabhupada starts out with the verse Harinama, Harinama, Harinama. Now, it's not that, Prabhupada, in different places, it's mentioned how the holy name is always efficacious. I mean, it's eternal, it's equal to Krishna. Then why should anyone go through these things? In other words, what's the point? If the holy name is completely efficacious, and it's chanted in other yugas, Dhruva is chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Why do they have to also go through all of these severe austerities? Why did it take Valmiki so long? I mean, he was chanting Ram, 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 Ram eventually, right? But still, he's gone for 60,000 years. So I think there's a special dispensation, right, for the Kali Yuga. It's mentioned like that. Kaling sabhajiyantyaya gunagyas sarvaginaha yatra sankirtanenaiva sarvasvarta vilabhyate. That the demigods, I think, or those who are Aryans and who really know the essence of things, they worship Kali Yuga, and I think it's this Kali Yuga especially, where Lord Chaitanya appeared. Because in this Kali Yuga, just by Sankirtan, all of your self-realization goals, your svarta, will be realized. So it's kind of a special dispensation which we should really take advantage of. But as you mentioned, the problem is that, I mean, I was around, early days, 73 was pretty early, and at that time it was like mandatory, 3 hours of Harinam every day. And I read, did we read in the class? I forget. It was a letter to Ray Rama, and he was complaining because he had so much work to do, and I didn't have time for the morning program. And Prabhupada said, the main thing, there's only, following the regs, chanting japa, and going on Harinam. Those are the most important aspects. And then, of course, doing your work. And he said, if you don't have time for the morning program, that's optional. This was way back in 66 or something, But that's really interesting that Prabhupada prioritized that public Harinam, going out and chanting Harinam is so important. That's what's been de-emphasized. Even you find these melas, they're mostly inside their internal things, rather than, you got 100 people there and all sitting down for 8 hours chanting. Take it outside, let's go, let's go downtown.
Yeah. There was one devotee, what's his name? Gauravani, the kirtan leader. He's, a lot of devotees know him and listen to him, but he was talking one time. I went to one of these kirtan melas, and he wasn't talking to me, he was talking to people. I was just near him, and he was saying that, I have a prediction that I think that these Harinams, going out, will become more and more popular soon. And if you really think about it, it makes sense. in the sense that like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. Of course, Harinams are going on now throughout the world. It's not that, we just stopped all Harinams. Harinams are going on, maybe right now we did, but Harinams are going on throughout the world. But for them to become more and more popular, like, everybody's really fired up to do it, it makes sense in the sense that in Chaitanya Leela, Srivas Thakur, in their house, they're having these kirtans, really ecstatic kirtans. The most ecstatic kirtans, right? Chanting and dancing. And then eventually what happened is, okay, we're going to, they went out of that Srivas Thakur's house, and they started chanting and dancing in the streets of, right, Bengal, Nadia. So it makes sense. You have all these kirtan melas, and yeah, if devotees are really getting into it and they're really feeling inspiration from all the wonderful devotional singers, and everybody's really, it makes sense that, okay, well, what are we going to do? Okay, well, let's go on Harinam,
In Christianity, you probably know better than me. Isn't there something called like witnessing, where you're publicly declaring yourself to be a Christian, and you're preaching, you're going, it's a public thing.
Yes.
That's the step that many devotees are afraid of. Even to the point, because who lives in a temple vial? Just a handful. So they work outside, they have friends outside, and they're not devotees. And so they have a whole identity outside. And so they're a little leery of going out and declaring, what if my boss sees me out here?
Yeah.
There is that aspect.
They have to get past that.
So it's that witnessing, it's that public display, I think, that kind of, because we invite our whole congregation, but only a handful are really ready to make that step. I'm a devotee, Hare Krishna. You know what I mean? That's a big thing. But you get special, you get more mercy from that when you're actually willing to do that and declare openly that you're Hare Krishna and whatever. See what happens.
All right, Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.